Ignore those. Hello, everybody. As you might be able to tell by these and that and where they go, those and this whole array here, I like audio stuff. And fundamentally, I'm a musician. At the end of the day, even if I don't have much music that is out for the world to listen to, one of my major hobbies throughout the past, God, what is the math on that? 8 years of my life, have been revolving around playing music, creating music, mixing, mastering, everything to do with music and audio in general. So, Ethan has done a fair few videos on this channel about, first of all, hi, my name is Ty, or aka Telestro. I make videos on another channel. I used to make videos on this channel. For the few that don't know who I am, there'll be another video coming soon, the next couple days. I don't know when this is going to be uploaded. A little bit more about how I feel about no longer being in Blade Bias. Very good video. Anyways, I have a lot of audio stuff. And Ethan has done a fair number of videos talking about his audio stuff. And his audio stuff usually stays in the realm of this bubble right here. These are on my desk in chronological order, going on the order I acquired them, and subsequently the order I will be talking about them. So, Ethan has done a few videos on his audio equipment, and mostly it is in-ear monitors, or IEMs. And out of all the audio equipment I will be talking about today, these are the only two IEMs. So you can see that a lot of it, and also you can see by these two, that IEMs are not really my thing. I like a good pair of IEMs, but I've had problems with my ears for the longest time, so most of the time, a good pair of over-ear headphones like those, or a really good pair of speakers, are my go-to. So we're going to kick this off with, I'm actually going to slightly switch the order of these two around, because technically the first thing I got was my original Beyerdynamic DT990 Pros. And I have a few notes here. So we're going to talk about some of my headphone journey and some of my audio equipment escapades. So, my DT990 Pros. These I have here are an updated version. These are the DT900 Pro X. They are a slightly flatter and slightly more tolerable sound. We'll get to that in a second. The original 990 Pros, they had the white, how do you describe it? Big open back. They had the little bridge on the side, and then they had like lighter and shallower ear cups. Those were some of the comfiest headphones I've ever worn. And I put thousands of hours on those headphones. I put so much time on those, to the point where I value reference tracks a lot in music, in mixing, mastering, and also in pretty much everything. An artist will use reference images a lot. Me, as an editor, will use reference clips a lot from other shows and films. Why is my light not changing color? Oh! Hold on. Yeah, there we go. It was a little too yellowy in here. Reference is super important when you're working with any kind of mixing, mastering, editing, production, anything like that. And through years and years and years of using my original 990 Pros, I got pretty good because I used a lot of reference tracks and I referenced a lot of different things, and I have years of experience on them. However, that does not change the fact that these two things, harshness and fatigue, I know my handwriting is ass, were very prominent on those headphones. Anyone who has owned a set of 990 Pros that has experienced other headphones, I used to think those things were insane, and then I started experiencing other headphones, will tell you that 990 Pros, they're fatiguing. They have such a harsh, when you're looking at a frequency response graph, usually straight line, perfectly neutral. You got like a little bass boost. Lower down here is low frequencies. Up here is high frequencies. The line in the middle is how strong they are. So like those, we'll get to it later, are like kind of mostly completely flat. The 990s are like ka-thunk. Like it's a huge, not huge, but there's a dip in the middle, and then there's a spike in the treble and a good amount of bass there. So it's just fatiguing. When you have a lot of high-end information, it gets very difficult for your ears to listen to for a long time. Ear fatigue, I can't remember exactly what the proper term for it is, but like listening fatigue is a real thing. In the same way, if you're working your brain too hard, you're going to start missing little things that should be obvious. If you're working your ears too hard, the same will happen, which is why it's important when you're working with audio, video, anything like that. You need to take breaks, and you need to be aware of the things you're working on. If you're going to be working on editing for 8 hours straight, don't use a blinding ass million nit display that's going to burn your retinas straight to the ground. Don't do that. Take care of yourself. In the same way that goes for audio equipment. So the 990 Pros are very sharp. They had a lot of sibilance, but they did have good sound staging. They were semi-open. They weren't as open as some other things like those. They were fairly open though, and extremely comfortable. But they were just a little difficult to listen to. So then these come out. These are the 900 Pro X. And they made even more comfortable ear pads. So I had to get a pair of these. Shout out to my girlfriend. Love her. My cat decided to crunch on this little exposed cable here, essentially breaking my 900 Pros, or my 990 Pros. So she bought me these as a replacement. This was many years ago. And they made big improvements in the comfort of the ear cups, because these are so much deeper. They have this beautiful like silk covering on them that the 990s had. Amazing. But they included one of those shitty little plastic like foam garbage headbands that sucks. It's bad. So I just took the 990 Pro headband, which you can buy online, but this is straight up the one from my old one, and just put it on here, and this is probably the most comfortable pair of headphones. Definitely the most comfortable I own, but one of the most comfortable I've ever worn. It's a good balance between cushion and weight. They stay put pretty well. The ear cups are very deep and they're very large, so they don't touch your ear at all, which is an issue with those, which I might get into if I remember, which is why I have notes here. They're great. They're super comfortable. They just are too harsh, and they get very fatiguing listening to for a long period of time. You get a lot of detail out of them because there is a lot of high-end reproduction. You get pretty good soundstage, pretty good image separation. They're just difficult to listen to for more than like half an hour. So, gonna get rid of those. Then, I got my monitors, which are my Kali Audio LP6s. I love Kali Audio. These things were $150 each. I have had these, I don't even know how many years. You can see them in the first video me and Ethan ever did up on his channel. You can see these in the background. They're tucked away in the corner, I believe. If I'm remembering how they were set up. They weren't set up properly at the time, so they were like tucked away in the back, but you can see them. I had a pair of Mackie CR3s before these. I think they were CR3s, 3-inch driver ones. Those were good. They were like $100 for both. They're a good starter, but they really were not good for actually professional use, mixing and mastering. These are great. They sound fantastic. They have a shit ton of these little dip switches on the back, which is something I love about Kali products, where you can customize it based on the room you're in and the setup your speakers are on. I am in my living room technically because we had to move some shit around. Originally that was an office, but that had to go back to a bedroom when we got our third cat because we needed to be able to separate them all, and also sleep in peace by locking him out pretty much because he's a psychopath. But anyways, all that to say, I do not have a treated room. And studio monitors are amazing. And a good pair of studio monitors like these, you can trust. However, only if you have a well-treated room. And that is something that I really started to understand when I went over to Will's apartment. Will Hirsch, the GOAT. Obviously, as a professional in the audio industry, I guess, doing audio in the film industry is a more accurate term, he has a very well-treated office with very nice speakers, his loudspeakers on the floor next to his desk, and then I don't remember exactly what his actual speakers by his desk were. I don't know if they were properly referenced studio monitors or what they were. But anyways, Will has a very, very well-treated room. And sitting in that room, I understood how bad my room has always been. I've never properly treated a room. I've always been like, oh, it's good enough. But no. Studio monitors are awesome. They sound fantastic. But if you don't have a properly treated room, it kind of defeats the purpose of using studio monitors for mixing and mastering. Because there's a lot of reflections. And these are big-ass speakers. These are LP6. This is a 6-inch driver here. That's going to throw shit everywhere. It's going to throw shit all over the walls. It's going to throw shit back here behind you. And if you're not mitigating that, it's going to bounce back at you. It's going to amplify certain frequencies. It's going to tone down other frequencies. I love these, and I trust... here's the difference. I trust these. I don't trust my room. So when it comes to mixing, mastering, editing, when I really need to hear... when I'm doing sound design and I really need to hear what is happening, I can't trust these because of my room. If I had a treated room, which hopefully I will have in my next apartment, something I'm specifically looking for is that me and my girlfriend have our own offices so that she can hang up all her art stuff and I can treat the room for audio. We're both nerds. But if I had a treated room, those would be amazing, but I don't. So I really use those casually. I really use them for just like watching YouTube videos and listening to music a more chill way. And they're speakers, so you can crank them up. They go loud. They go very loud. Speakers, I don't have a sub paired with them. I will eventually. Again, new apartment. That is one of my goals. But they're great. They're awesome. I love them. So, getting rid of these, we have my PC38X, which this is where the video is going to get kind of interesting. Because up until this point, I have only been in the chronological timeline. Up until this point, I've only been using those two. My monitors and the monitors I had before them, but mostly these guys, and then my 990 Pros. And I think at this point I had gotten those, the 900 Pro X, so like a little bit less harsh, a little bit more evened out, but still very much like the Bayer Dynamic thunk kind of thing. So recently, this is within the last year, the last couple months even. Well, first of all, I had a friend back in New York a long time ago who got interested in audio equipment. And then also, shortly after, well, I guess the timeline there is that this was a few years, many years ago. He bought a pair of HD6XX, I believe, or 600. I think they were actually HD600s, the OG 600s with the stone texture on them. I think it was those. And I tried those. And I think we did a trade for a week, which was he took those and I took the 6XX. And at that point in my life, I was so used to the Bayer Dynamic V-shape that I didn't like the 600s. The HD600s sounded bad to me because there was zero bass, there were just all mid-range, and there was no high-end to my ears because I was so used to using those for years. And yeah, that's kind of how that went. I didn't really like them that much. Let me drink my coffee. However, over time, I decided, you know what, let me, I was using various different headsets because I needed a headset for playing some games and stuff because I was sick of having my mic arm. So I had like a cheap Astro pair that I got at a pawn shop, I believe, for super cheap. Using that for a while, horrendously uncomfortable, whatever. And then I found out that these are a thing that exists. Let me not drop my phone. These are a thing that exists. These are the drop and EPOS, which is just Sennheiser's gaming brand, pretty much, PC38X. And these things are pretty rad because they're a pair of open back. It's a gaming headset, but it is a pair of open back Sennheiser headphones. And these are really cool because they have good Sennheiser audio, albeit I don't know the proper whatever. They have good Sennheiser audio, but they are slightly dishonest. They have a little bit of V shape, which is good for gaming because, you know, typically gunshots, footsteps, those kind of register in the sub bass and the high end as well. So you want a little bit more of a V shape so you can really hear everything. Pads are a little shallow, and also I find the cups to be kind of small. This like rubs up against the back of my ear. Not super comfortable. In terms of that front. After like 4 or 5 hours of wearing these, I get a bad hot spot on the back of my ear, which is why I don't wear them too often outside of like actually when I need them. God, these are annoying to hold. Why am I so bad at this? However, the cool thing about these is that they have an attached microphone, and the attached microphone is pretty damn good, aside from the fact that you need a pop filter on it, which I don't have, so I apologize to anyone that I'm in a Discord call with. But at bottom line, they're just a pretty good pair of Sennheiser open backs that just also happen to have a microphone attached. I think these things are great for like an entryway into, I guess, higher end audio, because having an open back pair is something that people are not used to. Open back headphones are not the norm. They are very far outside of the norm. With everything being pushed, active noise canceling, perfect seal, you got AirPods Max, which have like any noise that would be happening around you has now been banished into the nether realm because that ANC is actually really damn good. And then having open backs just throws that all out the window. It says, you know what, you're going to hear everything. You're going to hear all the shit around you. However, with that, you get better soundstage. You get honestly more accurate and more real feeling sound because it feels like it's coming from somewhere and not just a speaker on your ear. I love open backs. I have for the longest time. And if you have a quiet room to run them in, I always recommend open backs. They just sound a lot more natural. Typically they're a lot more comfortable, a lot more breathable, in my personal use cases and opinions. And they just sound more natural. So I love open backs. So you have PC38X, especially if you can find it on sale, like I did. You just have good, solid, open back Sennheiser headphones. A little dishonest, not the best for like professional work, but they just have a good microphone attached, so like it's a good open back gaming headset. This thing is great. I could totally recommend this to anyone who has the capability of using an open back pair of headphones. Not everyone does, I understand that. But if you do have that capability, I highly recommend those. So we're going to get rid of those. I've talked about those. So now we have the next thing that I bought, which is this is a big one. This is a big one. I'll just set this over here for now. These are the HD 560S. I got these on sale for $125. I bought these during a major hurricane. That was really funny. I bought these I think it was last month during Hurricane. What was the name? Milton. Bitch ass Milton. What kind of a name is Milton? Goddamn. I bought these during Hurricane Milton. These, exactly as the note says, first of all, they're very comfortable. The ear cups are a lot bigger than they at least feel a lot bigger. They seem to be not that much bigger, but big enough where my ear doesn't rub against them. This split headband idea is really, really cool because you don't get that hot spot right on the top, because that is where your head, if you look at someone's skull, their skull is not, it's like a little, it kind of like peaks at the middle there. And that's what that attempts. Just look at any bald person. Go around to your local neighborhood and start staring at bald people. You'll figure out. There you go. You can see the top there. You'll see very quickly that there's a peak in the top of your head. Thanks, laws of nature. That's great. Anyways, these are brutally honest. As the note card on my desk says, it is brutally honest. So much so, you have songs that sound amazing. You have songs that sound absolutely fantastic. Your favorite songs, however, if they don't sound fantastic, oh boy, you're gonna tell. So Knuckle Puck is a band that I listen to a lot, so like pop punk. Granted, all of this is based around the fact that I listen to a lot of pop punk, metal, and a lot of emo music. So a lot of guitars, a lot of drums, a lot of distorted guitars a lot of the times. A good high end and a good mid range is the most important thing for me, which is why those are a little too much. Because listening to distorted guitars for too long on those will actually make my brain shut down. Anyways, Knuckle Puck is a band that has a lot of songs, and their most recent album, A New Beginning, is a song that I use to test audio equipment a lot, because it is a very, very good mix. Everything is smooth. There's a lot of distorted guitars. There's like aggressive drums, but everything is very smooth. Everything has a good body to it. Everything has a nice rolled off top end. The bass is punchy. It kicks. It's there. Very, very well mixed album. These songs sound amazing on any headphones, but especially on these, because you can hear everything. Same band, but almost a decade prior, had the album Copacetic. This album is amazing. Amazing album. Fantastic songs. Holy shit, it sounds terrible. This album is mixed like ass. The songs are amazing, but it is mixed like ass. I didn't realize that until I plugged these in. And I put on one of those songs. And my face actively, like, I don't know. I can't explain the type of face I made, but it was like, are these broken? Is this okay? Like, is this supposed to sound like this? Because the thing about reference headphones like these is that they are brutally honest. When you are revealing every detail and every nuance of the music you're listening to with no sugarcoating at all, it is a flat line. The frequency response is damn near a flat line. You are hearing everything. So, when the stuff you're hearing sounds bad, it just straight up sounds bad. If you listen to like AirPods, right, they're going to kind of shave off that really high-end sizzle, add some sub-bass, some low bass in, maybe carve out a little bit of that boxiness mid-range around the 500 to 1,000 hertz, which boxiness is one of the shittiest sounds ever. It's around it's like 300 to 600 hertz. Just like carve that out a little bit. Most headphones will sound significantly better if you're working with like a shitty pair of a gaming headset or a shitty pair of random wireless earbuds you found. Carve out a little bit of that 300 to 600 range in your EQ. It usually works wonders. Anyways, that's not a general, like, everything applies to this rule, but that's kind of what I found. Anyways, these are brutal, but, like, in the best way possible. So, like, when I'm editing and I'm doing sound design, and I need to hear all the different components of the sound design working together and find out what is clashing with other stuff, which happens a lot. Sounds clash together. These show me. And these allow me to go, These allow me to go in with a fine-tooth comb and really sort things out. And that's what I love about them. That's what they're for. You know, they're not the best for casual listening because they are aggressively honest, but they are absolutely awesome for critical listening and analytical listening. When it really matters, these will show me what I need to hear. And I love that about them. And they're great. They're easy to drive, surprisingly. So are those. That's something I meant to write down in my notes, but I forgot. Those are insanely easy to drive. Those are, I think, a little harder. These are surprisingly easy to drive. I did not expect them to be that easy to drive. Especially because the 600 and 6XX are so not easy to drive. There's definitely harder things to drive, but you can't really run those off of just a phone. I ran these off of my phone with just the USB-C to USB-C to headphone jack dongle, and it worked just fine. So these are great. I love these. Super honest, super flat, brutally honest. In some cases, maybe a little too honest. Not great for casual listening, but very, very good for any kind of analytical listening. Anything that you are actually paying attention to the individual components of what you're listening to. If you're just listening to a song for the song and that's it, yeah, you know what I'm saying. However, if you're listening to, okay, I want to find out what these guitars are doing, I want to find out how the snare is mixed. If you're a fucking nerd like me, these are great. These are awesome. I love them. So, moving on from those, we have the real interesting components. So, those are probably my most used headphones, by the way. These Kali LP6s are my most used, like audio source in general, currently, and then those are second, at least when I'm sitting at my desk. Then we get to, chronologically, we're somewhere in here, which actually this should go way before that or that. This is technically the third thing. I got my LP6s, I got the 990 Pros, LP6s, upgraded to those, then got these, because these, I will go get them right now, because I have to get my other stuff. My KZ and Critical High Crouton. That is the collab. Let me open my backpack here, and you can see by the nature of the shit in my backpack, where did they go? Uh-oh, that's a problem. By the nature of the shit in my backpack, you can see kind of how these get used. So there's one pair of IEMs. I accidentally stopped the video again. I'm so smart. Anyways, so these are the KZ and Critical collab thingy-mabobs. I don't know what the proper name for them is. The things, the thingamajigs, you know. So these I believe I bought them while we were at Will's. I'm pretty sure me and Ethan both bought a pair of these at Will's apartment. Because the first year we went to Blade Show, we hung out with Will, and we were like, holy shit, you seem to know a lot of stuff about audio. This is really cool. This is really neat. You have a lot of really cool IEMs. I want something like that. I want to buy something. And he said, just get these. Just buy these. This is while the collab was still fresh. It was still going on. You could still buy these on Amazon. So we did. We just bought them. And these sound great. They sound awesome. For whatever they retail for, under $50, these sound fantastic. From a purely sound standpoint, you get a lot of mileage out of these. However, there is one thing that I really learned to dislike about these. And as, you know, I've been a musician for most of my life. And a lot of that comes with watching a lot of live shows and also watching and talking to a lot of people about live audio equipment and recording equipment. And in-ear monitors are super common. But one thing I started to notice is that these don't look like the in-ear monitors that I'm seeing my favorite musicians use. These are huge and bulky, and the cable is like sticking out the side. They feel really good in your ear. Like, they feel pretty good when they're sitting here and conforming to your ear. They feel great. But Chi-Fi Audio, which is the name for cheap, mostly produced in China, in-ear monitors and like that kind of world, the Chi-Fi IEM scene is huge. Moondrop, massive. 7 Hertz, massive. They make amazing stuff. However, what I started to notice is that all of the stuff that they produced was just kind of big and clunky and weird looking and fits odd. It fits comfortable, but they're just huge. And, you know, I was looking at my favorite musicians and watching their in-ear monitor rig breakdowns. And I'm like, why are theirs so small, but all these cheap things are so huge? And this is a little thing. You know, if all you care about is sound quality, then ignore whatever I'm saying. But as a musician, these just never looked right to me. And they just never felt right. Like, they didn't do what I really wanted them to do, which is put it in my ear. I am a person that runs it back through behind my ear, ties the cable properly behind the back of my neck. I use in-ear monitors the quote-unquote musician way, which is the way that they were designed to be used. And I feel like you can use them however the hell you want, but they excel when you use them that way. I'm not saying that you're wrong for just shoving them in your ear, running the cable straight down the front of your shirt and plugging it into your PC. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I feel like they do excel when your audio source is in like your back pocket, you have it tied at the back of your neck, and you're running it down the back of your shirt, cable out the way, snugly put in your ears. They just disappear. And I found with these, there was always a weird bulkiness to them. They looked dumb in my ears. They didn't fit right. Something was weird about them. And especially if I'm wearing like a hat or a beanie or some kind like I do at work, the fact that this sticks out of my ear, let me see if I can just put it in real quick and just show you guys. So, there we go. The fact that these are sticking out of my ear so much is just weird to me. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the fact that if I'm wearing a beanie, it like presses against it and makes it so I'm feeling a pressure point. I was getting pressure points up here, not even in my actual like ear canal. It was up here on this little nub because it was pushing into my ear. Because it's just, I've never liked the big bulky shape of Chi-Fi IEMs. But these sound great. They sound great for how much money they cost, and there's a lot of really good Chi-Fi IEMs that sound amazing for the money they cost. I will never ding them for that. But on my quest for IEMs that look and sound and feel more like I would expect IEMs to look, sound, and feel, I once again came across these guys. The Sennheiser... Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm unboxing. This video is falling apart. I'm sorry, guys. I'm falling apart. The Sennheiser. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay. These Sennheiser IE200s, and the Sennheiser has a very long IE line. This is what I get for not using a head mount and like actually having to just set shit like up properly. You know what I'm saying? So going with the theme, I'm gonna put the right ear in. Which one is this? This is the left ear. I'm going to put the right ear in my ear. And we're going to see the size difference between these two. So, now, the right ear is in my ear. So, kind of see, hello chat, hello, this is me. The size difference between these two. And these things are tiny. They just put right in your ear. They're barely noticeable. You could lay your hand flat on your ear and it doesn't press at all. There's no hot spot here. When I'm doing this, I'm not feeling a hot spot because it's not really touching anything. So this is what IEMs that I've always looked at and wanted and wondered, okay, what would that sound like? I wish I could have a pair of those. Those are what that looks like. These are what that looked like to me. And I know all of this is a weird workaround way of me shilling these things. And I know I'm probably not making any sense at all. But as a musician growing up, I have always seen those tiny little in-ear monitors that you barely notice that they're wearing at all. Some cases, the clear ones, you can't even tell unless you're right up next to them. And to me, that is what IEMs are for. That is what IEMs, in my opinion, they thrive at. That is the use case of IEMs, that they're reaching their full potential. And so when I was using my KZs and other similar large-ass IEMs like this, other big Chi-Fi, big body IEMs, I've always felt like, yeah, they're really cool, but it's just weird. Like, they're just huge and clunky, and the cable sits weird because it's so far off of my ear. It's just nothing, it didn't all click into place. And then when I got these, everything clicked into place. Everything started to make sense for me because I've also realized I have much smaller ears than I originally thought. I am using the smallest foam tips on these. Foam tips are great, by the way. I've had to use the smallest tips on every headphone that I have. they fit best if I use the smallest tips. And for a while, I didn't even realize that. So I was using like medium or large tips and destroying my ears. And I was wondering why my ears were sore all the time. But my ears are so much smaller than I originally thought. So having a tiny, tiny, tiny IEM like this, that just, you put it in your ear and it is just gone. Like, look at the thickness of that versus the thickness of this. Like, you can, if I'm not dumb, I'm pretty dumb. But yeah, I'm pretty dumb. You could see how much bulkier, if we compare just the nozzle end, you can see how much bulkier like the full body is of this. If we line the nozzles up, you can see how much bigger the KZs are. And I'd say this is a pretty standard shape. I have IEMs, cheaper IEMs, that are bigger than this. I have some smaller, some around the same size, and some bigger. Like the Critical Zero, I don't know, these got too many damn collabs that have the word zero in them. The one that has a red one and a blue one, like there's a zero red and the zero blue, that thing is huge. It is unnecessarily large, and I think it looks so dumb. But something like this is what I was after for the longest time. And they sound great. The stock silicone tips are kind of doo-doo. They tend to like fold over on themselves and not seal well. But I do really like the foam tips. I think the foam tips fit really well. They stay put really well. Love these. These sound awesome. They're like, I do have the tape. If you've seen people tape mod these, there's a little hole that allows for bass leakage, so you can like quote unquote dual tune them by pushing the thing out a little bit. I don't understand it. I don't get it. So I just taped over the hole and then put the foam. What did I do? I paused the thing. Anyways, these sound awesome. I'm messing up this recording so bad. This is like a 30-40 minute video. I don't care. These sound awesome. They sound like a hybrid between those and those. They have the great stuff about IEMs, that being that they're basically earplugs in and of themselves. And also you get the audio siphon directly into your ear hole. So you get a lot of instrument separation, you get a lot of detail, you get a lot of clarity. They're great. And they're like, they have a slight V to them. And this is not scientifically like using the graphs and stuff. This is just based on my personal kind of idea here. My personal experience between using them. They're fairly flat, but they have a slight V to them. They have a little bit more bass than like an open back pair would have. And maybe a little bit more life in the treble too, but they're very smooth. That's something that I've noticed with cheaper IEMs is they can be a little harsh. These come off very smooth on the top end, which is good when you're listening to stuff with distorted guitars, harsh vocals, aggressive drums, all that stuff. You want a smooth top end. You want a lot of detail in the mid-range, upper mid-range, and kind of low treble range, but it does have to smooth off. Otherwise, it's going to get too harsh like those, because those don't smooth. They just burn a hole in your ears. But these smooth very well, and that is a very, very nice thing to have. So these I'm extremely happy with, because when I looked back on what I always thought an IEM was and a musician's in-ear monitor was, it was not something like this. It was not something like the Moondrop Aria or, God forbid, those Critical blue, red, zero things. I don't know which company that is. He's got two of them. This is what I imagined in my head. So now getting a pair like this, I'm very happy with it. And granted, I have not tried kilobuck IEMs. I have not tried even the IE600, which is the older, bigger brother of these guys. I've not tried those. So it's almost like a blind positivity because I don't know what I'm missing. And I understand that, and I'm willing to admit that. However, these very much are working for me, and they provide the same good sound that I expect out of those. And even those, if I had a treated room, they provide a similar, yet a little bit more fun and enjoyable tonality. So I wear these all day at work. They don't bother me at all. They disappear in my ears. I've straight up forgotten that I have these on sometimes. They're great. They're awesome. I love these Sennheiser Big Cookage here. Great. Cool. So, gonna get rid of this. Gonna get rid of this. That leaves Koss. And I have two pairs of Koss headphones. One of them you're looking at right now. This is the KPH30i with Yaxi pads. And then I have a pair of Porta Pros, also with Yaxi pads on. My girlfriend stole the Porta Pros from me, pretty much, because she loves them. They sound great. They're insanely comfortable. They're super lightweight. They're awesome. They are a little dark, I will say that. But they don't sound like $50 headphones. They sound, especially if you put the Yaxi pads on them, they sound and feel so damn good for how much they cost. They don't sound like $50 headphones. And these, especially these, the KPH30Is, these things sound great. Excuse my burps. They sound fantastic. But they are built cheap. They are like, throw it in your bag, you know, casual listening. I'm sitting on the couch listening to my music or shows or whatever. These are great for casual listening, and they're super cheap. But they sound, again, they don't sound like $30 headphones. And they have a suspension strap, which I find very funny. I did try the Grado pad mod. That's actually currently what's holding up my speakers. I have them angled by using those pads. I didn't like it. It fit weird. It was like the raw speaker, the little raw speaker kind of pushing against my ear. I didn't like it. I was not a huge fan. I didn't like the way they fit mostly. I just didn't like the way they sit on my head with those big ass pads. And I have glasses, and my glasses have thick rims, so they don't really work properly with a lot of headphones. But I put the Yaxi pads on the KPH30i, and these things are awesome. Now I would argue the Chi-Fi market has kind of disrupted the place for these, because you'd get better quality audio and more reliable audio off of some of the cheaper Chi-Fi stuff. However, these are fantastic because sometimes you just don't want shit in your ears. Especially if you've had a long day of wearing in-ears at work or something like that, or like you're on campus and you're wearing your IEMs all day and your ears are worn out. Sometimes you don't want more stuff in your ears. And these things are great for casual listening, for just like sitting back and just, I want to listen to some shit and I just want to hear my music. I don't want to sit there and pick out every detail, but I want to listen to my music and just enjoy my music. These are fantastic for that. And I love these. I love these very, very much. The Porta Pros are cool, but there's a lot of moving parts that I'm really not a fan of. These are insanely simple. They're $30. You get Yaxi pads, which are another $10, and you have an amazing casual listening pair of headphones that punches way above its weight class, but they are a little dark. They don't have the most detail, but they're just comfortable little plastic shitter headphones. You could gift these to someone who's never listened to anything other than like Apple, the wired ear pods, and then they'd be blown away by these. These things sound awesome. They do bass, they do mid-range, they slope off a little early on the treble, but these things are just really cool. And they're super cheap, and they're super easy to get a hold of. Just go on Amazon, KPH30i, or Porta Pros, or the KSC75s, and just put Yaxi pads on. You can also get those on Amazon. And they're awesome. They're awesome. I love these little things. They're just cool. They're just neat. And when you don't want to have shit in your ear, they save the day. So yeah, there's my audio roundup, I guess. That gets rid of this guy, which then completes the video. And yeah, this was a lot of rambling, but I have a lot of new audio equipment that I haven't talked about yet. So there you go. Thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I love you all. I never stopped loving you all. Yeah. Shout out to Ethan for keeping this channel alive. Shout out to him for also spurring the love of audio, continuing to keep up with it. Shout out to Will for kind of kickstarting the love of audio, although I have been interested in audio equipment for many years, obviously. It was going to Will's apartment and going to Hi-Fi Buys that really said, it really set into position how good audio can be. So shout out to Will for that amazing experience. Shout out to Ethan for everything that he has ever done. Love that guy. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to go throw these Post-it notes away and go to the bathroom now. Okay, so bye-bye.